Right, so if you would go to Team Drive and navigate to the Tech Fridays folder and the faculty meetings, if you haven't already, there's one for today, December 1st.
Yes, I was in the middle of something. Can you show me again where you said that was?
Team Drive.
Team Drive, gotcha. Is it technology folder?
No, it's Team Drive faculty meetings, technology.
Why don't you have a technology folder?
Because technology folder has any documents that I've created.
Okay.
If it's too confusing, I can always move to right back. Can we do that? All right. I will take care of that. All right. So first and foremost, CEU credits for all the Tech Fridays and also all the Barbara Benson meetings are now been created. The way you do.
One more step. What after technology?
Go back one. Go to the faculty meetings and go to the
Faculty.
Tech Friday folder, December 1st.
Okay.
But those two links are for all the Tech Fridays and for all the Barbara Benson meetings throughout this that happened so far and will happen in the future. So one-time registration, and then you just have to be here to get credit for it. Each of the Tech Fridays are an hour and a half, and Benson's are 2 hours. Did that correctly. So if you want to go ahead and register for those, you can. Like I said, it's one-time registration. Then I can just go in and put you in.
We got to be on the CCS network. Yeah.
You do have to be on the CCS network in order to register. You can't be on LeGrand because it's an intranet link. But if you want to go ahead and register for those.
And if any of you guys, speaking of CEUs, if y'all did outside stuff, just remember to do those outside registrations so you get credit for whatever it was you did.
And if you need help figuring out how to do that, I can point you in the right direction.
Because I want to make sure you get what you need. I don't want any CEU.
And if you don't want to talk to me, just email Jennifer Walker. She'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want no hiccups.
Get credit where credit's due.
What's the sewer?
I want to say CCS.
No. The login is the first four of your last name followed by
Four of your social.
last four of your social, and then your social is your password. Once you get done registering, just come on over to the Tech Friday page, our nice festive Christmas edition.
Cool.
I love the s'more. By the way, this website that I use for these tech meetings is called S'more, SMORE.com. It's actually free to use. I have a pro subscription through the tech office, but they do have just a regular user subscription. The only difference is you don't get as many backgrounds. So I don't know if you get the best background like I can, but it's actually fairly intuitive webpage builder if you want to get into that. But anybody need more time to register? Can we move on? Where did Greenlee go? Did you leave? Where'd you go to your computer?
Is their laptop still over here?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's Weber's. Oh,
that's great.
no, that was Weber's. That was
Oh.
Weber.
Grab it left. I don't know what you do.
The one I tried to talk to. Oh. So first thing I wanted to do today was Wednesday I sent an email out encouraging you to bring in a tool that you use in your class or have used in your class throughout maybe this semester or maybe starting since last year. It doesn't necessarily have to be one that I've shown you because I know Zella was the big one last year and that was one that Greenlee and Peeler had gotten into. So what I wanted to do is do the nice cliche thing. Is everybody on this page? Click on this first button and it'll take you to Padlet.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's favorite. Click there. Click on the big red button to click your view tools. And then just, if you don't mind, double tap on there if it makes you log in. I think you double tap and then use my computer. Nice. I need more specific than that. MacBook. What program or website do you use? All right. And if you have a link to it, please provide a link. So go ahead and fill those out. There, is that better?
Sorry, how do you pull up something back into?
Should be a double tap
Where?
on anywhere on the screen. Yeah, right here. Yep, this one. Who uses Pip? Oh, choice eliminator. No, that's a good one. Did you embellish yours a little bit more, love, or did you just want to?
I used to keep one. I've added other stuff too. I think it myself. And there's always.
Hashtag that. Save the paper, don't make Mitchell mad. You the hashtagger. All right, so emails, top of there. All right, love, any embellishments on embedding files in Canvas as far as you can drive?
I mean, that's one thing I've tried to do this year over last year. You can take a PDF document, upload it to Drive, change the share settings to anyone with a link, and then grab the embed code, put the embed code into your Canvas page. And if you do that, when the kids go to your Canvas page, they can see the file on that page, and they can actually click it, it takes them to that whole page with it there. And so when we do readings with primary documents and stuff in class, instead of copying the document like I used to all last year, I'll put that document in Canvas and then just give them the question sheet, because I do want them to have something to write on to have in their notebook to remind them that, hey, yeah, we did do this. So that's a change I made this year.
Who put Google Keep?
I did.
Okay, you already talked. Canvas, Discovery, Newzella, Story Jumper. Who was that one? What is Story Jumper?
Story Jumper is a neat, like almost bookmaker,
Uh-huh.
where you can make books.
Cool.
And, you know, they make books for review, they make books, I mean, they've done books on the weather, they've done just different activities, and it's free. And it's really neat. Really neat. And then they can print a black and white copy, or you can purchase a color copy of their book. So I have some really neat books that they've
Are they student created or?
student created.
Wow.
All student created.
Does any of our students make books on there?
Yep.
You download them or bought
I
You buy them,
have
or?
I have them, but I haven't bought them.
them? Okay.
Some of them are really good.
What's the name of that again?
Story Jumper.
Okay. I'll look into that here about that. As far as Discovery Ed, do you still log in and use all that?
Mm-hmm. I do. They have a lot of good articles, videos that are not blocked. So,
Let's see. What are CPMP tools?
Plus mathematics project. You can do spreadsheets and graphs and histograms and all kinds of stuff on there easily. And it has the stuff embedded on some of the problems from the plus mathematics text that we use. It has activities that are there pulled up, and you do simulations. You run 100 simulations or 1,000 simulations or whatever. Come up with data. So it's free. It's like download. You don't have to have a textbook to do it.
Pick a chart. I figured that was yours because I know y'all make y'all's graphic design posters.
Yeah, so for the students who are not, who feel like they're not talented drawers, Pick a Chart allows students the options of creating infographics where they can tell the story with graphical design as opposed to just pure text. It's relatively easy to use. The free version has limitations, but
You put a watermark on there. then-
Well, all of the sites that I've come across put a watermark, but the best one is Pictochart because the watermark is at the very bottom, which means you can, if you print these things, you can cut them off.
Yeah, I've printed them off and cropped them before.
Yeah.
As far as YouTube, does YouTube videos or do you use any specific channels?
Well, the ones that I use repeatedly are Crash Course, which was done by John Green
Oh, yeah.
several years ago. But it continues to grow because when it became popular, PBS went into contract with them, and although John Green's not with them anymore, or at least he's not the main person anymore, they continue to develop quick 7 to 10 minute videos outlining certain subjects.
Do they cover, which subjects do they cover?
The ones they're more famous for are the history
Yeah.
subjects, but they have, since they've gone with PBS, they've branched out, I believe, into some others. But part of the connection with PBS is now they're providing lesson plans and other
Okay.
materials.
Yeah, John Green, is also the author of Fault in Our Stars and all those adult dramatic novels.
And remind me again, you said that we could use YouTube clips now without having to do anything first?
You actually have the ability as a teacher to approve any YouTube video or channel, although they recommend don't approve the channel because you can't control what comes up on the channel. But
I pull it up on my machine, show it on the
Yeah.
board.
yeah, it's primarily, you can watch any video on YouTube, but if there's videos on YouTube that you want your students to watch on school network, you can approve them to be seen by them. If they're not approved, it'll tell you below each video, this is approved or not approved. Clickers, that also love have like 5 slides. Padlet, Google Slides, Google Keep, and you use the one where the avatar speaks for you.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it.
Oh, that was yours? There's several of those. I'm trying to remember which one that is.
It's on my iPad. It's on my iPad.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But I couldn't remember.
Who uses Choice Eliminator? Talk about that one.
It's an add-on for Google Forms. It does warn you a lot. You need to use drop-down questions rather than multiple choice or other things. I use it for scheduling senior talk times, for students to choose which piece of literature that they're doing their project on, things like that. And as they choose, Choice Eliminator takes that out of the options, hence the name. But the neat thing is, when you first push that out to kids, they look at it as almost like a game because they want to get choice. So if they don't submit fast enough, all of a sudden, it's just gone. Yeah. So the thing is, though, you have to activate the add-on before anybody does anything as far as the thing. If one thing gets chosen, is before you open it. Well, it's still, actually, that's the thing. If you don't activate Choice Eliminator first, or a student gets in there, and I found this out the hard way, obviously, then suddenly you have 4 and 5 people choosing the same thing. Choice Eliminator doesn't know what to do. It eliminates some, but not all. So, provided that you do it in advance and as directed, it's worked well. But it does, I think they still claim to be in beta, but it's been.
Yeah, the two, they have Choice Eliminator 1, or Choice Eliminator, and then Choice Eliminator 2 had some, I think that one was primarily made for the new Google Forms. One thing I can say, if you use Google Forms a lot, definitely check out the add-ons button because there's some really cool tools like Choice Eliminator that can really kind of make the forms a little bit more like, I know the real big one was, I forgot its name, Flubaroo. That was the one that used to, basically if you wanted to make a quiz inside of Google Forms, Flubaroo would act as a grader and then grade it for you as the students came in. You had to basically submit the answer key as the first choice, and then it would base the any submissions after that, and they would actually give them a grade as a spreadsheet that you could then move over to a gradebook. And then quizzes, Canvas, Edpuzzle, Smart Notebook that you look at. And quizzes and Edpuzzle.
I like the quizzes, mainly because it gives me it'll let me look. I let them go ahead and take it as a class, and they do get very competitive with it. And then I go through, when you finally end it, it shows how many missed it versus how many got it right. So I'll just kind of scroll through it and see which ones, like if they missed more than half the class type thing, missed one, I'm able to know right there, go ahead and go over it, fix it right there.
Yeah, one thing I like about Quizzes is kind of the demented cousin of Kahoot.
Yeah.
If you've ever used, does anybody not know what Quizzes is? That was one of the things, tools I went over last year. Everybody know what it is? Basically, the only difference is instead of Kahoot, whole group, Quizzes is individual. And then Edpuzzle.
Edpuzzle is basically kind of makes, when they're watching a video, they're not just zoning out. Even if I put something silly in there, it still stops them and says, okay, were you paying attention? Sometimes just to clarify, did you actually hear? It's kind of for more of an emphasis. Did you hear what was just said?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done any of my, supposedly I know that you're supposed to be able to put your own video in there.
And you can, yeah.
And then stop it and make them answer the question.
I think
I just haven't known.
in one of my previous Tech Fridays, it might have been the one from October. I used, I believe I used one of Bond's videos as an example of using an Edpuzzle video. It's just an upload feature.
It lets me know, you can log in and they have to put their name under it and you can find out how many questions they did. You can set it where they can't skip.
So yeah,
They just answer the
Edpuzzle.
questions. It's a way for them to take notes and you know that they did.
Yeah. So if you go back to the October one, this is a video that Bond did. I don't know if he'll let me skip or not, because you actually can turn skipping off, so they can't,
I
you know,
turned that.
they can't click through the video.
I had them skip on.
I think this is the one where your son can. Yeah. Anyways, right here they can actually see where the questions are. And so these are just questions I threw in there, but they're but basically it'll pause the video, they'll answer the question, and then once they've answered it, it'll give them right or wrong. And you can also put the help me text in there, so if they got it wrong, you can tell them why they got it wrong, and then it moves on and starts playing the video again. This is all completely free and works with YouTube, Vimeo, and also you can upload your own videos. Pretty simple to use. You can also take an entire YouTube video and put your own narration, so you can completely block out whatever stuff's on there. So if you like the video content but not necessarily the narration of it, you can change that. And then there's also some other notes and things there. I'm gonna let it get to the first question so you can kind of see how it works. You can also, I'm in as a student right now, so I can go full screen. I should have turned the allowed skipping on my demo video, but it's nice to show that you can't skip around. You can go back to a question. So right there, it pauses. So what's something you can use? That's almost like a riddle. And if you want to, you can rewatch or you can submit your answer. So if I type this in, you know, I'd say to be graded, because you can go in and grade it and then you can continue. And you can always go back. You just can't. You can go forward as far as you've watched. So you can say I can go to right here. So little Edpuzzle side note there. All right. So if you want to learn more about that, that's the Tech Friday on a Monday. That was October's Tech Friday, if you want to look into that a little bit more. All right, so next thing's up, SchoolNet and Canvas integration. Anybody remember what SchoolNet is? We're like the only school that doesn't use SchoolNet in the county, as I found out.
Anywhere you get the benchmark questions from.
Benchmark questions, but the other thing is Angie McKee, if y'all know who she is, she's the kind of new technology curriculum coordinator for the county. It's ran by Pearson, but Pearson's also the company that's kind of in charge of writing the exam questions. So a lot of the questions that are in SchoolNet are very similar to the questions that they'll see on the final exam. So our thing was like, you know, if you want to really study for the final exam or practice final exam, you should use the questions from the company. It's also writing the questions for that one. But everybody has an access to it. I'm going to show you real quick how to look at questions and kind of, you know, vet some of these things. It's really nice because you can build an online test, or you can build a test and then have a paper copy of it and use that however you want to. But the Canvas integration piece of it Well, actually, if you build a test in SchoolNet, you can link it into Canvas, and then it will send that grade that they make in SchoolNet to the Canvas gradebook and therefore the PowerTeacher gradebook. So you can use SchoolNet questions if you want to. But I know I haven't really touched on it. I was a really big, or that was a major part of my job in Rutherford County. I was actually in charge of helping design benchmarks at my school and I was in fact in charge of all the math ones in Rutherford County for 2 years and had to lead data discussions. It was very boring. Anyway, so it's kind of also a little bit overwhelming when you go into it, but I'll just kind of walk you through the easiest way I've created them before. And to make it easy on y'all, I've also got a click here for instruction on how to create a SchoolNet assessment. And the way that
You're already in that.
if you click that SchoolNet link, it'll log you in. Yeah, you've already got logins for it, and it's just going through NCED Cloud. The best way I've found using SchoolNet, because there's like a express test creator where you say, all right, I want 10 questions from this one, but you can't really vet the questions. The way that I've made them is you choose the material and then you make a test out of that material. All right, so, and all these instructions are on that document, but over here on the left side, they have the assessments page. You can go to find, create. The one I use is items, rubrics, and passages, all right? And usually what I do is I click create, or excuse me, not that one, I click find. So you end up at this item central. And you start out, you just choose your category. So the first thing usually is you can go subject. And the other thing you'll notice, you'll see items listed, the number of items beside each one. And the big thing was the CU, or not CU. What's the other courses? No, like your electricity or electricians and CTE. I knew it started with C, but I lost it there. So like cosmetology has 14 items versus mathematics, 37,160 items. Okay, so for this one, I've been playing around with, I'm going to use the science. So life and physical sciences, I went too far, I already asked for a thing. So life and physical sciences, then you can go by grade level. You have a starting grade level and an ending grade level. So if you want to cover the high school gambit, you have 9 through 12. And then the next part is the standards. So you can actually choose what specific standards you want to test or look at. And so it breaks down. So who would like, Lipkin, we're going to use you. I'm going to go with chemistry. They've got 500 items. And then you can break it down. And these are actually the North Carolina standards. It's not the standard, the regular standard or the Common Core standards. These are actually the North Carolina standards. And it'll tell you which ones have what. So you can go specific. So like there's 2 items for the 2.2.2. But I'm going to go a little bit bigger and just choose this whole one. So once you choose that, it'll tell you how many items you have. You can look up here. There's 54 items. I can click View Results. And then what it'll do is it'll give me a list of all the questions. So these are all the questions that I can add to a test. These are, and they're fairly final exam level type questions. They're multiple choice. In fact, if you use the SchoolNet tester, it looks a lot like the tester that they use in the final exam. It looks a little bit different in the Canvas environment, but it's still the same type of questions. But what you can do this way is you can actually vet the questions that you want to use or not. And it'll start, you can actually change the results. I know there's 58, so I can actually change the number of results here to 100 so I can see everything at one time. I don't have to click between pages. And so if I like certain questions, I can click them and just kind of pick and choose what I want and make a test from these items. And once most of them are multiple choice. English, you have passages that you can actually choose. So at that chooser at the beginning where I was choosing items, I can also choose passages, and there's items attached to that passage. So if I want to test one particular passage, I could do that as well.
You said you can do this where it'll be an on-screen test or a paper pencil test.
Yes, and I'll show you that. So right here at the top, after I've started choosing these items, I can click Add Items to Test. And then it'll ask me, do I want to add this to a current test that I've made, or do I want to make a new one? So in this case, I'm going to make a new one. and then it'll walk you through the steps of making a test. You know, give it a name. So we'll say chemistry demo. Now, one thing I will say, these, when you make them public, you can actually create these on a school level. I actually have the ability to make it on a district level, but can also make it on school level. It doesn't really matter since we're so small. Lipkin's the only chemistry teacher, but there were other physical science or chemistry teachers. She can make it to where that test was available. That's how they do the benchmarks. But you choose, so this was life science, life and physical science, and then grade level, we'll call it 9th grade. And we'll call it science. But there's other test item things you can turn on. Manipulatives, they have compass, calculators, highlighters, things of that nature. They also have accommodations. They have line reader, magnifier, text-to-speech through TestNav. But a lot of this stuff is kind of more the technical side. That's the part where I would come in if you were working on this and make sure you get everything that you need right. Once you've done that, you can actually go in and edit these specific questions. So even though these are ones that were created by somebody on the state level, you still have the ability to go in and add your own things. You can even add your own questions, add your own question options, change point values, all that good stuff. You can even add a passage up here at the top. So if you wanted a document for them to read to go along with each question, you could do that. All right. Once I'm done, though, I can go to the Item Central or the test details. So right here's where I can start choosing if I want to make a paper copy. So right over here on the left side, I have a student test booklet, an answer key, and a cover sheet that I can print off as a PDF immediately. All right, I haven't even made the test public or available to anybody. I can go ahead and make my own copy. In fact, I even have it as a docx file, so it's still an editable file. But once you're ready, you can click Make Public. And this is the only thing about SchoolNet. It's like you have to click this button up here 3 times. So it's Make Public, then it's Ready to Schedule. Once it's ready to schedule, I can't make any more changes to this. It's kind of like your last, this is the last place you're going to do this, and then after that, I can't make any more changes to this specific test. I can copy this test and then make changes to it. But as far as this exact test right here, I cannot make any more changes, delete questions, or anything of that nature. But once I'm ready, I can click Schedule, and then that's when I give it a start date, its end date. So if I wanted to say it's due today, I actually made it on Saturday, but it's okay. But then you can go into the time test, enforced test time, scramble answer questions, orders. So you can make it a really good practice run for them if you wanted to do that for your review. Because I know within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be, having exams here in about, I guess, 3 weeks from now. Actually, less than 3 weeks, about 2 weeks. So if you want any practice time in a test environment, this is a good option for it. But that, again, that's up to you. However you want to do it, it's fine with me. And then right here, Legacy Online Test Delivery. So powered by SchoolNet, that would be the SchoolNet tester. They actually have that on their Chromebooks. There's the 2 apps that they have it on the login screen. One's the NC Test, which is what they use for the final exam. The other is the SchoolNet tester. If you choose the TestNav, that allows you to do the Canvas version. But after all that, you can click Save, and it's ready to go, and they can take it.
Either one of them passes the results on the PowerSchool.
Yeah, the Canvas one will pass at the PowerSchool, and there's also a direct from SchoolNet to PowerSchool method. I haven't gotten into that one in this one, but that is available also, because that was something they hadn't turned on yet.
Does it matter which one you choose, or do you have to go into PowerSchool and set the assignment up first, or does it automatically transfer? It would transfer over like any other Canvas assignment. You would just do it. It would put it in the Canvas gradebook, and then you would click export or the. As long as it's associated with a specific category. Yeah,
it would work like any other test assignment. It's just putting a grade in the Canvas gradebook. It might also do it in. I don't think it also does the PowerSchool. I think it's one or the other. I do know if you put it in Canvas, they can only take it in Canvas. It's linked permanently to there. It won't. They can't go into SchoolNet and take it, because the students also have a SchoolNet login. That's how they go in to access their tests that they have available. So whenever they're scheduled, that's where they go in to take it. There's other abilities in here such as moderating. You can see their progress, see how if they're getting it right or getting it wrong. A couple things there, but there's not really, I wouldn't call it like kind of like the formative assessment ones we've done in the past. It's not on that level. This is more a formal testing environment. But if you want to see what the test looks like, click on the SchoolNet Canvas example assignment. If you're not logged into NCAA Cloud, it may prompt you to, but it should take you directly to the assignment. It's the second big red button right above the YouTube video.
Yep, I don't either.
I may not have, let me make sure I published it. Because that could have happened. Let's see, SchoolNet math test. Nope, didn't publish it. Try it again, reload it. Because it's in the courses jar. Yeah, and you'll see a tab that says load SchoolNet test in a new window.
Math test, I love it.
Yeah, I think I went Algebra 1 on this one. Or Math 1, I still call it Algebra 1.
I'm not enrolled in school.
Well, it may not work.
Yeah, I'm not enrolled.
Well, that's because you're not enrolled as a student in SchoolNet, so that's probably why that didn't work there. But here's what it looks like on the preview mode, so that's why I have this on standby. There are 8 questions, so this is what the SchoolNet test looks like in Canvas. So trapezoid was the approximate perimeter. I don't know. I don't have time, but you can review. You can check your non-answered. You can bookmark it. So some similar tools to what they have in NC Test, and they can go through. Check all these things. They can actually highlight, so they want to highlight some things. So there's a lot of similar things that they can practice on the real test. So a lot of these are kind of the same one. And then once I'm ready, I'm pretty sure there's a submit button, not answered. I may not have a submit button since I'm just previewing it. There's also contrast settings and all that good stuff. But yeah, they would then submit, it would get the grade in the grade book, and then they should go to the higher school grade book from there. But it's just an option. Like I said, it's not anything you have to do, but if you're more interested in it, they actually overhauled SchoolNet over the summer. It looked a lot different than it used to. And they've added more. They always add items every year, and you can, so if you want to test specific standards for North Carolina standards, you can do that. But that's it for that. We'll move on. If you have any other questions about it, always feel free to come contact me to close out my Tech Friday page. I think it did. Next is peer reviews inside of Canvas. All right. I've heard several times of y'all I know history and English of doing peer reviews a lot. Swapping papers, grading it. Just want to make sure y'all are aware that Canvas also offers that same feature. If you ever want to give it a shot, I always try to write up kind of what it does. And then all these links are Canvas links on how to set up the peer review assignment. I was going to walk you through it on this particular one. In fact, if you won't mind, click that big red button below that one. I'll kind of walk you through what we did here. So you actually have an assignment. What do I want for Christmas? So
I don't have access.
you don't have access? I don't think yours.
You did.
I
I want to play.
hang on. I thought I had you in my class. Probably not. T Hopper or TL Hopper?
TL.
Do you want to be a student in this class? All right, refresh that page. See if that- let's try it. Yeah. Is there a submit button for y'all to click?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It wasn't on this page.
What's his role?
He's a student, but he may not have accepted, but he's also got those Uber rights like I do. So while y'all working on that, I'm gonna go into the editor, kind of show you what I did for setup. Peer review is actually one of the easiest things to set up in an assignment. It's an option that you click whenever you're ready. So right here, there's actually its own box. It's called peer reviews. And if you don't have to assign the peer reviews, one is manually assign the peer reviews, and the other one is automatically assign peer reviews. I like the automatic because it's less work for me. The next thing, you can choose how many peer reviews you want each student to do. So I don't think there's really a limit on there, except for maybe the number of assignments that they have to peer review. So you can choose if you want to do 2 or 3. It's up to you. And then the last one is peer reviews appear anonymously. So it'll say in their details, as you're going to see here in just a second, you have no idea who's you're reading, and they have no idea who graded them. So there's anonymity there, so you don't have to worry about,
But you can see who reviewed.
you can see, as a teacher, you can see who reviewed who, so you don't have to worry about it. Now the other thing is, does it give a grade for the peer review? Unfortunately, it does not automatically give one. However, you can easily set up a assignment that says peer review for this one, and then just go through, because when you go through the speed grader, you also see the reviews that the students gave. All right, so how do you get to the peer review is the next question. If you go back, after you submitted, if you go back to the assignment page where you submitted, it's like over there, you turned it in. On the right side, it says none assigned.
You too.
Does anybody have a peer review assignment, or think that's screwed up?
I don't see one.
I don't have them signed.
It's just. I love it when
That's
stuff.
peer review assignment. DNA quick.
Let's see, peer reviews. Oh, assign peer reviews. All right,
Refresh.
refresh. So apparently I had to go in and assign the peer review. It didn't do it automatically. Do you have peer reviews now? Yeah, so it said to your peer review. So go ahead and click on one of their responses. Somebody may have submitted the blank one.
I'll just give people.
So over on the right side, the only way you can really get feedback is through a text box, although does it offer immediate upload? Yes.
So then how do I see my view?
Do I need to sign you one? Oh. Let's see. Get about ooh, I can choose. So you just refresh your page.
Oh, then I can see the comments on the assignment.
Yeah, so you can actually see your peer reviews.
Now, if they submit a document, so let's say, for example, I give them a paper, and they have to do a peer review on the paper, is the only way that they can make comments on that in the box on the right?
It's in the box on the right.
That's it, they can't annotate the paper kind of like we can.
It doesn't look like.
Okay. I'll follow what you're saying.
But peer reviews can work for any type of online submission. So all I did on this one was a text entry, but if we can play around with it if we need to.
This is all I have on my screen.
Did I not assign you one? Oh, you didn't submit it.
Oh, I got submitted.
Yeah, click submit, and then you can type your text at the bottom.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you have to submit in order to get a peer review. So one thing kind of point out I have the teacher screen up because, so y'all know what the assignment viewer looks like, most of you. So if you're on the right, because I enable peer reviews, I have the peer review link. I know there's 6 submissions on there. And then I can also, right here, I can automatically see who as far as a peer review. I can also assign more. So like Tanya doesn't have one assigned to her, but I can assign her, and I can choose which specific student I want to assign to her. So say you got one that's going really quick and you want them to assign them more, you can assign them more. You can actually choose who they get. They will still not know who it is because obviously you're probably not going to have this up here for them to see who they got. If I go back to the assignment, let me go to the speed grader. Let's see if I have peer reviews on here. Somewhere to live. Somewhere. All right, so Brogdon World Peas. This is the in the teacher grader. So, but right above where I had my comments and feedback, I also have the students. So I can see that Conrad left a 1 and then Sherilyn Lipkin left 1. I don't know why they said your full name. It's a fun name to say, I guess. By the way, Ben Schweppe has a visceral reaction every time I mention your name. Just throwing that out there. Like it's like he went into almost a rage. I said Lipkin. He's like, oh my God. So you're doing good. You're doing good, Lipkin. You're doing good. Apparently you're really breaking through to him. Side note. Over on the right side, I can also delete. So if I don't want that comment on there for the student, I can delete it. So if someone puts something inappropriate, they can. But that's what we do in anonymity. So that's a fun word to say also. So this is another way of checking. I can see, all right, they got 2 comments. I can see who did it. I can kind of go through. And then also my peer reviews, let me just double check. That's awesome. I can click on the submission details and look in the regular view as well. Is that yours, Todd? Yeah. I would totally get that pacifier from my job. But yeah, so super easy to set up. It's just a turn on, and then once they've actually submitted, then you can go to peer reviews and click assign peer reviews, and it does that way. If you chose the manual option, you would have to go under each student and give them a specific one, whereas the automatic, you can say on 2, we'll give them 2 right question. And like Matt pointed out, it is just a comment over to the right. It's up to you. If you need them to go more in depth, circle, annotate, stuff of that nature, then that'd be more paper assignment. But if you want like a real quick peer review assignment or something inside of Canvas, then that's an option there that's available. And there's more in-depth things inside these links. So if you click on, they also give you a nice breakdown, pictures, all that good stuff, so you can see exactly what you need to do. But if you don't like that, can you also come and talk to me? Because I get lonely in my room sometimes, and those kids really get on my nerves. I'd love for y'all to come see me every once in a while. Break up the monotony. All right, moving on. All right, we're moving out of Canvas. Next is Quizlet. Who has not heard of Quizlet? Been around for the past 2 years, I think. Quizlet's been around for quite a while. That flashcard thing. But Quizlet actually has grown quite a bit as far as their ability as a what's available for students. It's more than just flashcards, although the flashcards are still there and they are great. But they have a variety of subjects. Let me go to my class here. So just kind of show you some options. So when I click on any type of study set, flashcards is the second option. They also have the Learn. Basically, the way you set up a Quizlet is you have term and definition. You go to Learn, it's like a multiple choice. They have to figure out what's what. So Sacramento, in this case, it's the state capitals and the states they go with. It's kind of easy because we have the picture of California there. So, but believe it or not, based off what I've with Bond's kids, a lot of them don't know where certain states are, what they look like. Some kid was like, "Where's North Carolina?" Oh,
Are you serious?
yeah. It's one of the things you learned. Where do I live? But yeah, so they can go through here and click it that way. Let me go back. Flashcards, we know flashcards. Write's a pretty cool one because then you have to actually type out things. So if you want to test them on spelling, Or you can even go the extra step and have it a actual spelling test where it reads the word in its computer voice and they have to type it out. I don't think I can get this one.
Are they able to move?
Our students,
Yeah, they should because it's a free account. In fact, Amy Littlejohn made one because they were doing the amendments for a test. And I had them play Quizlet Live, which I'm going to have y'all play here in just a second. And they about broke my board.
She got a few of them.
They also have games you can play. So this one is a time thing where I have a picture and I have to match it with the word. So I can drag and drop anyone. So if I want to throw Hawaii on there, Missouri, that's where my wife is right now. Jackson, Mississippi. So you can do all that kind of stuff. And then finally, gravity's a fun one. You have to actually type it. This one's got asteroids coming in. So I have to figure out what's the capital of Louisiana. It's Baton Rouge. Got it right. Didn't die.
So that one, we want to look at it and ask for a picture. That how you got a picture with the
No, that was one they put in there. Whoever designed it. I'm going to talk about diagrams next, actually. We'll go ahead and do that one. Diagrams is actually a brand new feature they had. This right here is the actual, well, these are my test results. Diagrams is really cool. It's a new one they have. It's basically labeling things. So I know Bond would really enjoy this one because it's a lot of anatomy and biology. Chemistry, I think you're in there. There's some presidents, important figures of early U.S. I haven't actually played around with this one yet. But depending on what it is, also depends on what's available to them. So like on this one, there's only 4 options. But if I click on Learn, I then have to Thomas Jefferson. I don't know. This one might be a little funky. Anyways. But diagrams, you actually click on the picture and then have to identify what that is versus just study sets. The next one I want to do is we're going to actually have to test your knowledge. So here's what we're going to do. This Quizlet Live is a really cool interactive game, but it promotes collaboration and teamwork because what's going to happen is it's going to pair you into groups automatically, and not everybody's going to have, like, say, for example, Conrad and Brogdon got in the same group. Collectively, they'll have all the right answers, but Conrad may not have the right answer for the current question, but Brogdon may. So you have to communicate directly. Does that make sense? You're going to see here in just a second. So what I'm going to do with this one, what I want for y'all, sorry, the baby's still there. Click on the Play Quizlet Live. You should see a prompt for a number. Y'all see that? Did I link it correctly? Good guy. Yeah, that's when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I'm gonna give you the code. This is what we like. They used this in my room to study the amendments, and it got crazy. And like everything else, there is a upgrade to teacher that's $30 a year or something like that. It's not bad, but still you have to pay for it. But the star option, that is you have to upgrade to use it, but they still offer a free version of it, so it's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the game. Right there's your code. Type in the code. Another thing, you have to have at least 4 students, so you can't just play this with a pair of students. You have to have at least 4 people because it wants a team environment. And I can see the numbers coming in. Natalie, Bubba, Gilligan. Hey. Got 10 people, but all right. So I can create a game with 8 students. Go and drop into 2 teams. You should have a picture of an animal. Find your team. So I need peacocks, y'all need to get together, and lions need to get together.
Oh.
You're lying.
I'm lying too.
It's very obvious which team you're on because of the giant picture.
Which one is?
You can go lions.
Maybe. I think I shot.
I wouldn't mind at all.
This also works on iPads and smartphones. So if their Chromebook's not working, but they have their smartphone in their pocket, they can log in with the same code. All right. Another thing to point out, if I don't want Hopper on Bobby Joe's team, I can shuffle team members. So I can shuffle teams as keep hitting that button. I can't delete specific ones, but I can shuffle it, mess things up if I need to.
And then there's our picture.
Yes. There's a variety of animals to choose from. So anyways, we're going to click start game. So you need to communicate because not everybody has the right answer on their page. Somebody on your team does have the right answer.
Okay, so show me a picture.
It should be pretty easy. It's a picture.
Okay, I'll put in New York. Salem, Florida.
I got it right. So everybody should see that they got it right.
Oh, we all have something different.
Yeah. The first to 8 win, or first to 12 wins in this case.
You're trying to match it.
If you miss one, your score resets.
Montgomery, Alabama. So we just click on that.
If you don't explain how to say
Mexico.
Peacocks are winning right now by 1. Got it. Oh, now we're tied.
Okay. Montpelier, Baja.
7-7. Lions are pulling ahead. Here comes Peacocks.
Phoenix, Arizona. Hopper. Louisiana, Hopper. I got the last 2. Okay. Albany, New York. Boom.
Congratulations, the Lions have won. Nobody even missed one. Fun fact, if you miss one, it resets your score to 0.
Oh.
That's when it gets fun.
That's.
That's what happened in the amendments one. You want to play a different game? What's a subject we would like to try? Geography or math? Which ones are Brogdon good at? Let's try some
If
geography.
you're trying something new, do we have to reset?
Yeah, it may reset your team, so just be ready. Let's see. We got a basic geography test. Ooh, 24 questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's this one? South America. Oh, it's a diagram, it looks like.
Yes. That's good.
Let's see what this does. We're gonna play live again. I'm gonna create a game, definition and term.
Okay, how do I get back to
How do we
the,
get out of here?
Just close that tab, go back to my page and click, I think was it live?
or you can just refresh?
Or just refresh. Yeah, click play, was it live? I'll take you back to the numbers. Got a new code up there. Yeah, we got the 704 area code. Not that code on page 8. Oh, wrong day. Is that you? We got everybody? All right, it's kangaroos versus rhinos.
I'm a rhino.
All right. Kangaroo. Bye, Barry.
I'm hopping out here.
All righty, buddy. Kangaroos.
Lipkin. All right. Yeah, can we change it to science and I'll just sit out?
But I say, Hoppy, you taught science too, didn't you?
I did.
I'm just like.
Are we ready?
Not happening.
All right.
Here we go. You got 12, first 12 wins.
Looks like.
So what's it asking for?
What is that?
What is that highlight? Okay, okay.
I didn't really vet the,
United States or.
didn't really vet these, cards, there's weird stuff I thought.
It's too small.
Okay, Southern Ocean. Got it. Okay, Indian Ocean. Can you click on the image up there? Third
Why don't you
plane.
click on image? Third plane from the earth, really, they asked that?
Oh, man, it's on the wall.
Brendan winning here.
Sarah Lynn hasn't answered one question.
Have the match ocean. Pacific.
I got latitude, longitude.
Pacific.
I
Got it.
thought
Okay,
United States longitude.
part of the continent, North America, United States. 9% world population is Indian Ocean.
Rhinos are at 9, kangaroos are at 8.
Imaginary lines run east to west. Longitude run east to west.
No.
That is because it's the
Latitude,
ladder.
ladder.
Well, latitude measures how far you are north and south.
Kangaroos won.
Congratulations, we'll give it to you. We felt bad.
All right, we'll do one more. What time is it? 10:24. Well, it's not really a tiebreaker. Well, of course, only one group messed up. Victorian poets. How about how about a review for To Kill a Mockingbird? Who remembers that book? Or what's a book? Conrad, give me a book.
What's that?
Give me a book. What's the book you read? Great Gatsby. Let's see. All right, let's go. We'll go with this one. It's 15 terms. Great Gatsby. Here's your code.
Where did Green go? I think Greeley wasn't feeling well. I got
Flipkin.
Yes.
Did you write that? Who's Flipkin? There's Flipkin and Cheryl Ann. Who could have been Flipkin?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Sea dragons and camels.
Camel.
Sea dragons versus camels. I think most, we got 2 sea dragons.
That is
This one might get interesting because usually it might be 1, might be 2 answers wrong, and it resets your score. So this could get good.
Go.
Here we go. First to 12 again.
Symbols of the Great Gatsby. It's a part. Just got anything that relates to part that we find in the American dream. Follow this, the upper class, I'll take that. That's all. Reset. We'll try this.
It'll give you, it looks like it's giving you the name of the American flag.
Yeah.
Sea dragons. All right. Camels are 4 of you. Just FYI, this is based off of flashcards that can be created by anybody. Camels got reset to 0. Yep. We're back to the tied score. Sea dragons got reset.
Hopper's got it.
Time and same thing again?
switches.
Jazz age, during this era, prosperity of the nation. I'm good with that.
1923 to 23 American and French.
Yeah, no, sorry. I had the correct answer. That's okay. We got this. I'll get a little wrong.
Right here.
Yeah, okay, so we got that one. Jazz age, I got it. Good. Okay, on you and.
It's the Daisy.
Got it. There we go.
That's his
That's
name.
the narrator. Okay. So you guys are, look at the pictures again. So Author. Point of view, we got first and third. Okay. Jay, yes, speak. I have a protagonist. Yes.
And the camels have. All right. Click to continue to stats.
Man, this is good stuff, Mr. Hammond.
All right, so what we learned, the green line on dockside, the eyes of Dr. TJ, the Valley of Ashes, Gatsby's Party, or symbols of the Great Gatsby. It was confused with the themes of the Great Gatsby, not the symbols, the decline of American Dream. So I can actually review the questions that were missed. So what we learned, 1925 is the publishing date. It was confused with 1923 to 1923. In America and France, time and place the novel was written. So we can actually review, what was missed. Wow. As a group. So there's some good thing here. Also, what else did you notice about this particular game versus like Kahoot and quizzes and other? Had to work together, and also a lot of communication was happening. I mean, y'all, and this one especially, you had to, both teams had got reset to zero, so you had to learn from your mistakes and work as a group in order to beat the other team. That's one thing I like about Quiz Alive versus the other ones that I've noticed right off the bat when I had them play in there was a lot more teamwork happening, and you had to open communication. So
you can you make these, or does that from that thing?
This is somebody I just searched.
Can we actually make?
You can make them, yeah. All they're doing is taking the same thing you use to make the flashcards, term and definition, make the cards that you want, and
So you have to
then
make the flashcards and then use it.
yeah. So if I click create, this is the creator right here. So I have inner term, inner definition, and then once you've made so many, you can turn anything into a game or a learning experience. Cool. The other nice thing about Quizlet is I actually showed you this one was you can embed inside a Canvas. There's a share code. So if you want to keep kind of things in there, if you want to keep them in one environment, let me go to this one. If I click on these dots, not that one, these dots up here, I get the old embed code right here, and I can pick specifically which one I want. If I want the matching game, the learn, test, flashcard, or spell, choose that one, copy the HTML code, then I can go to my Canvas class, hit the editor, embed code, it'll throw that in there. And that's just a kind of a study environment. The Quizlet Live has to be done outside of that. But, I mean, you can easily put a link to it like I did in that website for them to go directly to the live page to type in their number. And, I mean, and you saw how easy it was to find things. All I did was search what I wanted to, find one I liked, and then hit it. And then or you can make your own. Quiz has been around long enough. They have a lot of study banks in there. So there's a lot of things for everybody. So definitely play around with it. Any bank in there can be turned into a Quizlet Live game like you saw here where they have to communicate calls. Basically what it does, it breaks it up into teams. Each team member gets a certain amount of gets certain responses, and you have to coordinate as a team to get the right answers. But really cool experience, I think. I like it. So give that a check. I got one last thing I was going to talk about. That's the old Google Arts and Culture. Just going to plug it because I like it. We talked about it last year. Does anybody not remember what Google Arts and Culture is? No? All right. So Google Arts and Culture is it started off as Google Arts Project, but basically it's really good for history and science and kind of where it's a museum almost of everything that's happening in humanity kind of thing, but through Google. But they've also partnered with museums to give virtual tours and also for events in history, arts projects. One I was playing around with last night, I type in John Adams, for example. It'll give me best match. This is all free. I didn't log in or anything like that. So if I click on John Adams, it'll give me all specific things, but it also gives me artifacts and items. I can actually click on this. This is a letter from John Adams to Abigail Adams from November 2nd, 1800, and these are high scan resolutions, or high resolution scans. And I can actually go in and read the letter in John Adams' handwriting. It's really hard, by the way, especially if you can't read cursive. I can read cursive, but that's still hard for me because they wrote really tiny back in the 1800s. But I mean, you can zoom right on in and see different things. You can look at other artifacts. Things of that nature. They also have 3D 360 objects that you can play around with. Let's see, collections. You can go to the Museum of Modern Art. You can look at modern art. They're really cool with paintings. Talking about those high resolution scans. I can zoom all the way in, that close to the thing, give it a second, and see that far into Van Gogh's Starry Night, so you can actually see the canvas behind the paint. I don't know why that's important, but it's really cool. And you can also, if you watch that video, it kind of goes into a little bit more parts. You can search by color movement if you want for specific things, or you can just do a keyword. You're not really quite sure what it is, but if you can describe it, they actually have an algorithm that'll figure out what it is you're looking for. But it's a really cool thing, especially say for history and art. We don't really have an art class, but we have an art club. So if you want to get into that, you can. You have Watergate, Cold War, Apollo program, a lot of historical events to cover in it. What it does is it has a collection of photos, artifacts, things from museums that museums have let them scan and look at, so they can kind of have a virtual experience with it. And I mean, it gets into a lot of stuff. So the experiments page, I think that one's a beta page. Yeah, this one's more art stuff. I thought it was science experiments, but it's not, even though they even have a little glass cylinder there. But this one is something I would highly recommend in using if you want to study artifacts as far as things in history. The one thing I wish they had on there is like such as those letters from John Adams stuff. It'll give you kind of a description of what it is and maybe a little snippet of it, but they don't give you the full, like, just text translation of what it is. So if you want to actually try and read it, you can, but that's about how far you can do it. You can look for specific artists. Explore. They also have an app. The app will do virtual tours, and it'll couple with the Google Cardboards, those viewers, and you can go on a virtual tour. And some of them actually have narration in there, so it's almost like you can go on a tour inside your office without ever having to leave of famous museums. For example, let's see, air and space. Yeah, so 6 museum views. So if we can go into these right here, I can actually go into museums. They're full 360 images, and I can walk around. So this is Intrepid Sea Air and Space Museum, so I can walk around inside of a battleship and look at real places, real things, not just read about them, but actually experience them and look at them. So, and it's also, this is a really cool website to kind of get lost in, because you really learn some cool things about different events and people. But plugged it last year. I wanted to kind of round out this session with one other thing. I know Quiz It Live would be a pretty fun feature, but I like to throw in some culture stuff too. So, but that is it for this particular Tech Friday. It's the last one of 2017. So the 2018, I got to bring my A game to do stuff. All right.
And we appreciate you.
All right.